A major issue with agriculture in many parts of the world is what's known as desertification. Now, this process happens in arid or dry regions close to existing desert areas. As the area dries out, the wind blows away the thin layer of fertile soil. It becomes difficult to grow traditional crops in the area. So this is often replaced by herding goats, sheep, or cattle. And while this does allow natural plants like grass to grow in the area, the grazing itself can result in the hooves or even the action of grazing pulling up shallow-rooted plants as the animals are desperate to get whatever nutrition they can from whatever plants are available. It means there are increasing areas with no plant roots holding in the precious topsoil. When the topsoil dries out, the wind can then blow the soil away, making it increasingly difficult for any new plants at all to take root. So with no topsoil, no plants, the arid area becomes desert, then herders move on to another area and the process is repeated. So in order to halt or reduce this happening, some places have put in place what come to be known as magic stones or stone lines. Stones, of course, are not magical, but the effect they create is fairly dramatic for such a relatively simple idea. The stones are arranged to form a tiny wall just the height of the largest stone. These mini walls are arranged along natural contour lines of the land. This line of stones acts as a dam, so when rainwater runs off the land, which normally wash away the topsoil, hits the lines of stones, they release the topsoil, deposit it next to the barrier, and the soil fills in any gaps in the ground just away from the magic stones. This line of stones also slows the water running off the surface, giving it time to penetrate deeply into the soil and irrigate the land. As the wind which blows across the land hits the wall, it creates turbulence, which means that it also releases any particles of soil that were being carried on the wind, again backfilling the land near the wall with topsoil. In addition, more water being retained in the soil, the top layer is less likely to be dried out completely enough to be blown away by the wind. And where substantial amounts of topsoil and water accumulate in small holes or uneven patches of the land, then local trees like acacia will take root again, holding on to more of the soil, since these trees seed naturally rather than being planted by hand, have a far greater chance of actually thriving in this challenging environment. So this combination of retaining topsoil and water means that growing crops or grazing animals continue in areas which might otherwise be too dry for farming to continue without the stone lines. Because this technique only requires rocks, manual labour, and some very basic engineering as to where and how to position the rocks, all this can be achieved by local farmers and villagers working together without the need for much outside assistance. This ownership of the solution can be extremely motivating for the locals, especially as the changes in the land are fairly rapid to see. So once a small area has undergone the transformation by magic stones, the community are likely to carry out the process on the land all around the local area. Preventing or slowing the process of desertification in that area means the local community can survive and not displaced by the encroachment of the desert.